Ready? Hey guys, welcome back to 4 Downs with Coach Preston. We are on episode 7. Fun things to talk about today. Got a cool drill, got some plays we're going to break down for you guys. Let Coach Mike take it away and tell us what we're starting with.
Hi. Before that, though, make sure that you like and subscribe. If you value the content that we're providing here, the education and the entertainment, all about flag football.
That's why Coach Mike is here, to make sure that we clear up anything I forget to do.
Keep it moving, baby. Keep it moving. Okay, so our main topic for today, how was the World Championship at Disney? Because you just had that. You went there. You had one team out there, correct?
Yes.
And, how did it go?
My oldest group was out there. My son was out there playing too. Man, that is such an unbelievable experience every year. This was our 4th year doing it. And there's over 1,000 teams from all over the world. Right. I mean, there's teams from China and Mexico and Hawaii and Canada. It doesn't matter. Like, we played a team from Mexico. We played teams from Canada. So it's an awesome experience because different styles of football are coming out there, right? Like, you're kind of see, like, how do these countries play flag football?
Right.
And on day 1, you get 4 games. So everyone plays 4 games. And then for day 2, they break up the standings, right? So we had 96 teams in our division. And then what they do is they break it up into the top 32, the middle 32, bottom 32. So then you're playing for a championship, essentially, in a playoff structure against teams that had similar records. So what's great about that is, I mean, you could go out there and be a team that's just not very good or new, but you're likely going to end up competing in a bracket with teams that are similar to you in competition. Right?
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's a great way to get teams signing up, right? If it was always like, the worst team plays the best team in the playoffs, right? That would not be fun to show up for that. So I think they do a good job of formatting it that way. Yeah,
especially when you play a team that's been together for 4 or 5 years, and then you just kind of built this team, and you want to go out there, and and then it's no fun. It's really no fun for either team at that point, right?
Yeah, no, agreed.
55
the top team doesn't want to play a game like that, and then. Right. And then some teams have been together for 3 or 4 years, but they're not super competitive. They're just friends and they want to play, and they just go out for experience.
Right.
So day 1 is a random draw of who you play for 4 games, but then on day 2, they stack it up.
Right.
You're probably fairly competitive over there. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so what bracket did you wind up in?
Oh my gosh, man! It was a tough weekend. So
yeah,
the last 2 seasons we've ended up in the top bracket, and last year, for instance, we ended up playing the defending champions, and we lost 12-6, right? So we know, like, we can stack up. Now, there's in all fairness and reality, there's probably 10 teams out there that we know consistently are a notch better than us, and we have to play really good ball. But we certainly feel like we fall in that 10 to 15 range.
Right.
This week, we won our first 2 games, 28-0, right? They kind of called at that point. So we didn't play great teams. And our next 2 games, we lost by 2 points and by 1 point.
Oh, heartbreakers.
And that 2-2 record put us in the middle bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And again, some teams fall into the middle bracket that are probably top bracket teams based on their play. But these games are super fast, man. It's 2 10-minute halves, right? And you literally have 2 or 3 drives in a game. So if you have a turnover or for some reason you don't score, like, you're probably going to lose the game. You have to score every drive.
Right.
And we scored. So on day 1, when we lost by 2 and 1 point, we scored every drive. We had one turnover. We had 1 interception we threw, right, which is just kind of a fluke play, whatever happens. And so we lost that game by 2 points. And then the other game, we lost 21-20. We actually scored with them every drive. This was the number 4 seed after day 1. They were 4-0, right? Number 4 out of 96 teams.
Right.
We came down, we scored with no time to go, and we decided to go for 2 for the win.
Right.
Instead of the tie.
That's the right approach.
Which is the right move, because at that point, again, if we get a tie, we're probably going to the middle bracket, so we know we need to get the win. So we went for 2, and we didn't get it, so we lost by 1 point. So decisions are a big deal in this tournament, everything like that. Ended up in the middle bracket, and then on day 2, it was tough, man. It was rainy like crazy, puddles of water everywhere.
Oh, boy.
And we're a full passing team, right? So it didn't play into our hands very well.
Can you run in that league?
You can run unlimited in that league. So the team that beat us in that bracket ran the ball 19 out of 20 plays. Like, they were a pure running team.
Right.
So they're getting 5 yards every play, which is ideal, where we're a team that can pick up 5, 10, 15 if we're throwing the ball well.
Right.
But it was just so wet we couldn't get – balls were slipping out and kind of behind the receivers, and it was a tough game for us. So
now, I know your son a little bit, and I know that he is very competitive.
Yeah.
How did he take going into the second bracket instead of the top bracket? How was he about it?
Yeah. Great. So after the fourth game, which we lost by 1 point, we knew going into the game we had to win, right? And tie wasn't an option, and we lost. And he was crying after the game. Yeah, and he's frustrated. Now one of his teammates, which we typically it's okay, say, man, we're not crying out here, but there's certain reasons we see emotions, right? We're not crying because we lost the game, you know, but he was crying because we didn't make the top bracket. So I had to remind his teammate, look. There's a reason he's crying. He's crying because he wants to play in the top bracket. He wants to go against the best, right? And on Sunday we're going to play against some good teams in the middle bracket, but we don't have a chance to compete for the top bracket. So he was upset about that. We had a couple kids that were upset because you want to compete against the best. Even if you lose, you want to see where you stack up against them, and we didn't really have that opportunity.
There's a significant difference from a kid that's crying off the field after the game is over and the kid that's crying on the field in the middle of a play that just kind of broke down.
Yeah.
Right? So, I can't imagine Jackson being that kid.
I've gotten that out of Jackson too, though.
Yeah.
Right. Things are frustrating, and actually on day 2, the same thing. The ball was wet. It was coming out slippery, and sometimes behind him, and he tries to catch it. We're not wearing gloves, right? Because they're like, guys, you can't wear gloves. There's no way to catch this ball. And then the kids are knocking the ball out of your hands a lot easier, so it's not a catch anymore because it just slips out easy. So we had a frustrating day, and he got a little tearful because it was hard.
Right.
And it's frustrating. Like, man, this is we should be playing better right now, but it's wet and it's hard right now. It's not working out. So, but we grow through those things. We coach them not to do that.
Yeah. Of course.
But overall, fantastic experience. I mean, these are elite fields out here at Walt Disney World. They have, I want to say, there's 60 or 65 fields going at one time.
Wow.
Right. And they're playing from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the day. So I think they played more than I want to say 2,400 games over the weekend for day 1 and day 2. It was crazy.
Do you see refs from there that you see in other leagues? And
yeah, we actually have. Yeah, I think we probably had more out there, but I saw 4 or 5 of the referees that ref for us on Friday nights.
No kidding.
Out there, right? So we're walking by and they'd run over to the kids and say, "Hey guys, what's up?" And you see Rudy and Kirk and all the guys, Gary and all them. So we probably have 6 to 10 refs that ref in our league that were out there.
No kidding.
On the weekend.
Isn't that funny, dude? I went to one of our players is in NFL Flag 50 and down on Redbug. And I wanted to see their game, and it's a 5-on-5 as well. Yeah. So that's something I've never had experience with at all. And one of the things that I guess I kind of start to analyze is the refs, right? Mm-hmm. How does the ref handle the situation? How does he speak to the crowd? How does what?
How's it stack up against our refs?
Yeah, right? Let's compare. How does he do all these things? So this ref, he had no shoes on, which I thought was interesting.
Okay. Yeah, not a great start.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, but. I think that was.
He had no shoes.
Yeah,
on.
He walked around in socks, which is okay, a little weird, but whatever. Right. Meanwhile, though, he's explaining everything. He's like, it's third down. This is how much is left on the clock. This is the current score. He would always kind of reiterate to the crowd exactly what was going on. I was like, wow,
that's fantastic.
This is a really good ref.
Just throw some shoes on him and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, hey, what are you doing? You
can come over, but you got to wear shoes.
Yeah, but listen, we got to put some shoes on you, and we want you to come over and join us in Winter Park.
Yeah,
so
I don't think you don't forget shoes. So
no, he must have taken them off at some point.
Yeah, stretch his feet out. So the Disney tournament, so the experience is unbelievable.
Right.
And the fun part from a coaching perspective with us is, because our team's fairly advanced, is it's such a quick game that you have to figure out what is this team good at really quick. So some teams throw the deep ball very well. Right. Because you got big kids and go up. And some kids throw the intermediate crossing passes very well. Some kids hand the ball. The team we played, it worked into their favor on a rainy day. They're a running team. So, they just ran it consistently and picked up 5 or 7 yards. So you usually have about 1 to 2 drives in the first half. And then in the second half, it's adjustments. All right, how do we stop this team? And then how do we score against their defense? So it's a constant battle on adjustments and figuring out what you can do to succeed in a quick game.
Right.
That's where it's fun.
Yeah, I got to do it one day. I got to get some kids out there and try and join that for sure.
Yeah, I think it comes down to there's 96 teams in a division, but the way they break it up for day 2 usually puts you in an area where you're going to compete on day 2, or it's going to be close games.
Right. So I wouldn't bring all 5, but I would bring at least 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, you have a hard time coaching 5 teams out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
because they're all back to back to back.
Yeah. So great experience. They do Disney every year in usually mid to late February.
Right.
And it usually fills up in October for signups.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it last year.
Well, and so year 1, 4 years ago, we went, and there was 14 teams in our division. Right. And maybe like 300 teams overall. And 4 years later, they're over 1,000 teams. And it's from 5U all the way to 18U, and they do boys and they do girls.
No kidding.
It's insane.
Wow, man. Sounds like a lot of fun, dude. I'm gonna have to partake. Okay. So that was kind of our main topic, and we're about to move into our coaches' questions.
What you got?
Are you ready?
I'm ready, baby.
All right. Question number 1. How do you get a quarterback to make quicker decisions? Now, like, this is a thing that we always kind of struggle on. I'm going to be guilty of this. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago where I got this quarterback. He's fantastic. He's a great kid, just all around. First to help out, pick up cones. If, when people are putting flags away, if they throw him on the side of the bag, he picks them up. He puts them in. Like, he's just a great
kid, yeah.
Yeah. So on this game, I let my oldest son coach the offense because he likes to do it, and it's great for him. It gives him more field experience, gives him good coaching strategies, kind of teaching him to be a leader, and the kids love him. But for whatever reason, my quarterback would not throw on little out routes. Like, he just felt the coverage was there too much, and you could see that he would feel overwhelmed. So, like, the windows were there. Maybe they're a little bit smaller than what he was used to. Maybe he wanted more space for that throw, but he wouldn't make that decision. So he would look somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, what's the best approach other than me completely losing my mind on the sidelines so my kid's not throwing the ball, which I was, felt super guilty about later. Like, hey, man, I'm sorry for getting upset, but it happens.
Is that fifth six for you or 3-4?
This was 3-4.
Okay, yeah.
3-4.
So you had Jax out there coaching.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, early on, we aside from the drill, we tell our kids where to throw the ball, and I'm like, hey, just throw the ball. Right? But they build confidence in that. But there was a drill specifically, and we can we'll get something here in a future week on film for you. But we'll basically we'll get like half an end zone, the width basically,
right?
And then you can tailor this to, like, as they grow, making it more challenging. But we'll put like 3 receivers out there and maybe 3 DBs, and then I'll give him 4 seconds to, like, find somebody and throw the ball, and that's it, like, or 3 seconds, right? And I'll put him on the 5-yard line, so it's not a super far throw for him,
right?
And he's just scanning, looking for his player, and then pumping the ball out really quick as soon as he sees a window to throw the ball. Okay. And what we start to do from that is we start to squeeze if it started to get harder, we back him up to the 10-yard line. Now he's making a 10-yard throw. Or we can put 2 receivers out there and 3 DBs, so there's more DBs covering it. And there's different ways to challenge him for him to find his receiver. And as soon as he feels like he's open, he's throwing it. Now, what we're doing is it's just a practice drill. Right. So in the game, the problem is if he throws an interception, it's devastating. Everyone's watching him, so he's not going to do that. But in practice, you can do this 15 or 20 times a practice with him, and there's no loss, right? If he throws an interception, he doesn't. So you're just teaching him to pull the trigger a lot quicker.
Right.
And we would do that at a young age with our quarterback, and it would give our receivers an edge too, because they're learning to continue to move and get open in zones and not staying in the same spot.
Right.
And at some point, this kid is throwing in tight window throws on the sideline and catching it. That's what we would do to help him progress into trusting to pull the trigger. But a lot of times, just getting those reps at practice.
Right. So part of making the decision is also having the confidence that it's there.
Yes.
Right.
And in practice, confidence comes from that. But in practice, when you throw an interception, it doesn't matter, and it's a drill. Right. He's going to take more opportunities and chances. He's going to build his confidence by doing that. Right. So I think that's the opportunity is put a little box out there, or a 10 by 10 box, and put a couple receivers and a couple of DBs, and tell him to find a receiver and count down out loud, 4, 3, 2, 1, and have him just throw it. Right. And so he's learning not only to get rid of the ball quick, but he's learning to make, eventually over time, he's making accurate tight window throws where he's trying to throw it away from the defender, right, into the receiver's hands, right, up and away from the defender. And there's a lot of development in that. Okay.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And then putting them in a position where it isn't as stressful, you eventually need to get it to convert on the field, right? So, I look forward to kind of seeing when you have 3 defensive players against 2 receivers, because, like, I think that happens too in the game, right? Like, the quarterback will walk up and they look at the defensive scheme and they're like, I don't know where to throw the ball. Like, that's like you could see the panic, like,
yeah,
is this spot going to be there?
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, and in this drill, a lot of times with a 3-on-2 are very tight windows. When we start to squeeze this box down because our quarterback was getting good, we put him 10 or 12 yards away.
Right.
a lot of times I don't need the completion to happen in the drill. I just need him to react quickly. So when I see the guy getting open and my quarterback's realizing it too, and he's throwing the ball very fast and it's in the right vicinity, yeah, DB might knock the ball down, but he's triggering quickly to throw the ball when he sees someone open, and that's really the growth. Because then when you get on the big football field, the windows open up and it's much easier for him.
Right. It's a way bigger field.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So completing the ball in the practice drill is not as important as him just, as soon as he sees someone open, that he's just getting rid of the ball and he's trusting it.
Right.
If he's doing that, he's good enough.
Okay. Awesome. I mean, that's going to help a lot of coaches and a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, and we'll get in the next week or two, we'll get something on film at practice, and we'll put that drill together and we'll get it out here. So show the coaches.
Perfect. All right. Question number 2. How many offensive plays should I have? Now this is a great question because we have two kind of different philosophies when it comes to offensive plays. I like yours better than mine. However, getting there I think can be complicated. What's the most? How many? Was there ever a time? Now the way that you coach, and we'll kind of get into this a little bit as we through this podcast, but you don't necessarily have offensive plays at all on like a wrist, right? Now I do, and the most that we've ever had, it was kind of crazy to say this number, it was 48, right? So we had maxed out 24 on 1 and maxed out 24 on 2, and like so it's 8 per page, and it wasn't. It sounds like it's
you run 24 plays a game.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you run 24 plays.
Yeah.
But like we did this at a time when we had players getting confused as to where they were at, and they couldn't grasp concepts. So like we would run trips left. Like this whole side would have 3 receivers on the left for 8 or 9 of those plays, right? And then we'd have the identical plays on the other side, 8 or 9 plays, and it would be 3 receivers on the right. But like we wanted them to see at that point like where you're supposed to be, right? Where your green guy's supposed to be, where your blue guy's supposed to be, or where your letter, if it's an A or an X or whatever, however you label the receiver. So at most we had 48. I'm going to tell you right now, that's way too much, right? I definitely don't recommend that. But how many offensive plays do you think a team should have?
Well, in order to be successful, you need, in your playbook, you probably need 150 to 200 plays.
Yeah.
How do you even know what to go to? No, right. So I might have mentioned this before, but we had plays in the first and second grade. I had a little flip sheet that I used. It was laminated,
right?
And I probably had like 15 plays on there. And my getting in the huddle, halftime, I'm looking for the play, and where's the play I need? And I'm trying to flip through it, and then it's 10 seconds. I can't find it.
Right.
I ended up leaving that playbook by accident one time at home and went into the playoffs, and I was like, where's my playbook? And I didn't have it. And I was like, right. Oh my gosh, I don't have my playbook. So we navigated our way through that, and that's when I said, wait a second, like these kids kind of already starting to learn some of this stuff. Is it possible for me just to teach them the terminology and the lingo, and then we just don't need a playbook?
Right.
And that's kind of where we took off from that, and it actually just sped our offense up, and kids understand it a lot easier. To your point, a lot of times coaches, like there's so many things going on, the kids don't know how to line up in trips left because the coaches never actually said, trips left. Not that you don't, but
right.
Line up in trips left. They just show them on the paper. So at practice, I would say for the first 5 minutes, I'd say trips left, and they'd go line up trips left, trips right, trips right,
right,
double stack wide, sluggo left, whatever we had. I had formations that we would practice in the first 5 minutes just to get them thinking that we never even ran plays out of.
Right.
But it was just a terminology of them to hear something and be able to line up.
Right.
Right. So here's what I would think with plays, right? And there's different defenses. So certain plays work for certain defenses. You're basically running a route into an area to isolate a defender to open it up another area. So let's just say there's 4 different defenses out there, right? And there may be 5 or 6 and fancy ones, but probably if you really have 3 or 4 plays per defensive set, I think that'd probably be good if you're really good at them.
Right.
Right. So maybe 12 or 16 plays. Otherwise, if I have a play set for a 4-2, that play, if it's ran properly and the offensive players are running into the right zones, and it should work almost every time if your quarterback can make the quick read on who to do, right? So maybe 3-4 plays. Again, we have a couple of different main sets that we run out of, 91 and 59.
Right.
And we just tweak one thing in that set 4 or 5 different ways, right? So and they're all the same formation. And then we have our goal line package, which we'll touch on later. We talked about it's goal line left or goal line right, and we have the same setup of players. They go to the same spot, but we run 4 or 5 different things out of it.
Right.
So it's very simple for them. But I think that if you're going to do plays and you're going to draw it up early, I think you probably just need to have like 3 per defensive set, or maybe no more than 10, because how do you even know as a coach what to call? And then the kids are always doing something different and going somewhere else. It's just confusing for them. Whereas if you less is better, probably, because then you become really good at it.
Yeah, less is essentially more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the really good teams we played, they have plays. But I'm quite sure that they probably have between 6 and 12 plays in their playbook, and they're just so good at them, and the quarterback knows how to make the reads, that's what they run every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, and you are right. Like you do kind of see what a team is really comfortable with. Like there are a lot of teams that, like when you said you had that team that played just running, like sometimes you'll come across a team that is just really good at running crosses and kind of short balls, right? And then maybe they'll test every once in a while. They're like, all right, well, everybody's kind of coming in. Maybe we'll throw something deep, a little bit deeper. But you could tell when that quarterback and that receiver haven't practiced that a lot, and it's not really there, right?
Well, and I'd caution you on that, having less plays, but if you're very strong on just throwing short passes and that's where all your plays are, the team's going to adjust to that. And if you can't throw the ball deep, that's where we come in, where we have a 91, but we have the ability to check to, 68 or something like that, right? Where we can hit an intermediate play. And we just have 6 different main route numbers that we use in routes, and we just check one thing every time based on how defense lines up. And then we just move the ball down the field that way.
Yeah.
And it's fun for a coach because you're making the decisions, right? You're taking the pressure off the quarterback early. You're going to tell him where to throw the ball, and you're just looking to see where the hole in defense is, and you know where the routes end up. So you call the route play to get that kid in that position. You throw the ball, and you just move the ball down the field.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, normally if you have those plays set up, you have those different formations, you can kind of start to attack exactly who you think is potentially maybe even the weakest player on defense, right? If a cornerback is biting, it's coming up, right? Or if a cornerback is going too far back, right? And they do that over and over again. You're like, okay, well, I know exactly what the play is or what the route is, and here's the route number that I want you to run, and boom, here's your play, right? So, okay.
Finding matchups, you got it.
So potentially, just to kind of briefly surmise here, 10 to 12 plays.
Yeah. I think that's enough. I mean, at that point, how do you even know what you're calling or what to go to, and you're flipping through all this stuff?
Right.
It's going to be frustrating. Get really good at a few plays and then build off of that.
Yeah, realistically, maybe 3 or 4 formations, and then things that you can kind of change from that. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times with formations, if you have too many formations, again, you're lined up in something and you're moving the defense. Every time you change a formation, the defense is moving, and you don't know what they're going to do. If you line up in the same formation every time, you know what they're going to do, and it allows you to then just start to just pick your spots, right? So we line up in the same. If we want to change a formation, we'll basically just put a guy in motion and bring him back over, right? So it shows a different look, but we always end up in the same thing.
Nothing makes me happier as a coach to keep the same formation and then hear the defensive player yell to all the rest of the team, "It's the same play."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
nope.
It is definitely not the same play.
The same play. Looks the same, not going to be the same.
Like, okay, it's the same play. It's the same play, because then I know that he's already anticipating something that's going to happen, and it's going to be the opposite of that. And I'm like, this guy's going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So, okay. Question number 3. How do we build an offensive system rather than call plays? So this kind of parlays into what we were just talking about, right? I have plays, right? And as I'm kind of learning from you more and more over time, I can see myself starting to kind of gravitate away from a playbook, right, of 24 plays and more towards formation and kind of routes. So how do you start to do that? How do you get away from what was the term I was about to use? Offense.
Building a system, right? And again, some systems out there, some teams are just so good, and their quarterbacks are so good at making the reads that they have 10 plays and they just run them and execute them, right?
Right.
But there's still times where you call a play and they line up, right? And the defense shifts last minute on the quarterback, or just shifts in general, and you don't have the ability to check that play, and you're like, oh, I thought they were going to be in the 4-2 again. Now they're in 5-1 or a man. Now you have to run that play, and that quarterback's not sure what to do.
Right.
So you want to I think we want to adjust out of the plays and get to where you can just line the kids up and spread 91
Right.
and say, hey, this is going to be open because the linebacker's head up and we're going to hit the one.
Right.
But we talked about the linebacker being outside leverage, right? And he cheats out. And then you're like, hey, we're not 91 anymore. We're in 91 orange whip.
Right.
Now you're pushing out. So you're just changing at the line of scrimmage. So I would say that you're typically with what we have, our 91, our 59, 27, a few different sets we run, have those in your playbook. So you can just run it, right? But then have your other plays in there as well. And then over time as a coach, when you have opportunities where you're in the lead in the game by 14 points, say, hey, line up in 91. Try to go into a no huddle scenario.
Right.
Kids know to line up. And then you start to press yourself on, all right, let's work on the whip right here because he's out here, orange whip.
Right.
You start to learn that because you'll start to build confidence.
Right.
Right.
Start making those mods.
Yeah. Give yourself the opportunity. And then as you start to build confidence, then you're constantly looking at the defense and looking for opportunities. You're going to start to remove that playbook away, and now you can become a system where you make the calls at the line of scrimmage. You just have to start to make the transition. And the way to do that would be in games you're either losing by a lot, right, and try something, or when you're winning by a lot and you're just giving it a shot.
I'd even argue the fact that game's on the line, dude, to be honest. Like, if you practice it and, you feel like it's a tight game and it's not nothing, your regular playbook isn't working, but you think that you can shift out and kind of modify this, it could pay dividends,
Absolutely. We went away from it because I left my playbook at home.
Right.
So that day I was having to do that. But the good thing, they had already known some routes and some numbers, so we went into that.
Right.
And from there, I just went with it. We started practicing it, and I started playing with it, and it was fine, right? We got going. So you just have to take the initiative to start working on that process.
Right.
And you can do it at practice. You can do it in games. And I tell you as a coach, you're going to have a tremendous more amount of fun by doing it that way because you are the play caller. You are dictating what your offense does based on how defense lines up. You're going to have a lot more success that way.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
And it's like you have complete control.
Yeah.
Which makes it all the more fun. You're at the line, you see the things, hey, 91, or hey, 57 or, something like that. Like when they understand. So like now what I do is with every practice, I like all of our kids, I have two incredibly athletic teams. One is probably above the rest, right, in our 7-8 division. The other ones are all kind of mixed as far as athleticism, as far as, football knowledge. And so what I like to do is I like to review with them, like, hey, what's some of the routes that we're learning, right? And they'll raise their hand and say a number. I go, what? And now everybody else, what is it, right? What is a 2,
yeah,
right? So, trying to get them comfortable and familiar with it so that, even if they don't use it entirely this season, if that's where we're kind of gravitating towards for the players to keep coming back, then they should have a more fun time when we're playing the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Very important. When we practice this a lot early on, we would, again, the first 5 minutes, we would do some sort of dynamic warm-up, and the next 10 minutes would be review.
Right.
5 minutes of 2 sets of kids in groups, A, Group B, and I'd say, hey, spread, trips right, sluggo left, double stack wide, spread tight, and all these formations are on our YouTube channel. And but we would practice that for 5 minutes, and the kids would just go into that. And then I'd say spread, 91, and we would walk through the route. So if we did that every practice, by 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, the kids knew 91, 59, 27. Then it was a matter of me trying to call that in the game, and knowing where those holes were at. So you just starting that early, get the kids understanding it. They're going to have the base platform you need for you then to go out and apply it in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Do you have a skill or agility drill for us today?
Yes. So let me let's pull this up. I got it on the phone here. We'll pull this up on.
Here are some receiver drills to help you catch better with Coach Preston.
So this is a tennis ball storm drill.
This drill we call tennis ball storm. It's a great drill to help with hand-eye coordination for kids becoming wide receivers. The idea is you take about 10 tennis balls, throw them to them one at a time, allowing them to catch the balls. You can slow this down or speed it up depending on the player.
All right, so great drill right there for just hand-eye coordination. A lot of things with kids at a young age we talked about is is just catching tennis balls, right? They're catching footballs is important too. But in this case, we're throwing a bunch of tennis balls one at a time to them, and we're just getting them to catch and find the ball, right? We teach the kid to catch the ball very quickly, or as soon as he catches it, get rid of it and look for the next one.
Right.
And you can go as slow or as fast as you need. But kids are really, they're just finding different balls, high, low, blah, and they're catching it, moving their eyes all around and working on that.
Yeah, so this is a drill. I mean, I think one of the biggest problems that I always see with a player is they think they have the catch, and they turn their head, and they don't have the ball.
Yeah.
And boom, dropped. So, like, this is a great kind of way to address that with rapid fire. Like, you're constantly looking, ball in hand, then drop it. Ball in caught, drop. You know, so, and it's coming at you at a rapid speed. So, it's a great way to take a player that's slowly working on catching, like kind of getting better at catching, but not quite at that level, and making them comfortable with that motion so that it's second nature. You know?
Yeah, and so I actually tell my kids as they start this drill, especially beginners, I'm like, look, I don't need you to catch every ball.
Right.
The goal is to have your hands get to the ball, okay? Because you're working on speed of your eyes getting to it and the coordination of your hands getting to it. So a lot of kids at a young age, like they might drop 6 or 7 of them, but if their hands are in the right spot and it tells them you're getting there, and then over time, believe it or not, within a couple of weeks, they're catching most of them because now they're training their eyes and their hands to get to the same spot, and they're building hand-eye coordination. So it's not about catching every ball, because sometimes I'll go super fast with some of our kids, and I'm unbelievably fast, where I probably wouldn't even do well in the drill, but I'm seeing their hands get to the spot and their eyes are following the ball.
Right.
That is just enhancing hand-eye coordination in a drill where you're ripping your head around in an out route and the ball's on top of you because he threw it early and you can find it quick and catch it.
Right.
Right. Whereas the ball's sailing by your head because your eyes aren't used to moving fast and picking stuff up. So it's a great drill for that.
Yeah. You know what, that's a great drill too for like the player that always just wants to use their body. That's something that drives me nuts, was they try and catch it like this.
Yeah. And,
you know, like you can only do that. They'll run a route, then you got to set them back. Then they'll run a route, they'll set it back. You know, so maybe you get it 10, 15 times. Where they're getting 10 catches in less than, 20 seconds.
Yeah,
so
it's fast. We'll go through it over and over again. We'll create competitions. We used to create competitions at practice. We do these drills in our summer camps and our private trainings for kids. But we create competition, right? I'll say, hey, everyone's going to get one round, and then after the second round, it's our championship round, right? So kids are really dialed in and focused. Everything is about competition at a young age because you're going to get the kids' best.
Right.
But yeah, we create competition. We used to do it when we did it at a young age. Create competition, and then we'll see who's winning, right? And they're all just locked in and giving you their best for a couple of rounds. It's a great drill to do. And there's a number of tennis ball drills that we do, and we'll start to kind of put these out on podcasts and talk about it, but those are great drills for hand-eye coordination.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, that brings us to our final fourth down.
Yep.
Do you have a play for us today?
Got to play. We're going to go to the board right now, and then we'll put it on screen.
All right, let's check it out.
All right, Mike, so what we have here is another goal line play. A couple weeks ago, we ran, again, we run out the same set typically. Trips left, 1, 2, 3 receivers on the left, 1 on the far right, or trips right. Even in a 5, this is 6v6, even in a 5v5 scenario, we put 3 receivers to the right. We basically just lose the backside receiver. So in this case, the other day we ran a wrap back, which we wrap around the back, and we come back to the behind the outside defender. We come back down pylon. These guys are all in a zone. This is a pretty typical defense you're going to see is either a 5-1 with 1 safety. All these guys are covering zones here. Or you'll see a man coverage with a similar look. But this next play, when we hit that wrap back, the next play we'll typically go to is what we call orange shoot. So in most of our plays, in this case, our 3 receivers here, 1, 2, 3. This is my center. Our middle receiver's running a 5-yard stop, right? And we're just sitting him there, kind of putting this guy to sleep, and we're hitting other players. But in this play, we're going to run our orange shoot play. And what happens is, after he stops here, and even if you run it the first play of the game in the end zone, right, it'll work. The key here is he stops 5 yards on the outside of this defender. This defender is going to drop back into a zone with this guy. Our quarterback rolls left. He gives a little pump fake to this guy. Quick pump. And as soon as he pumps him, he shoots out and catches it in the window here.
Okay.
So we tell the receiver a couple things. Run to the line, goal line, just across it. Turn around and face your quarterback and just stand still. Like, don't move your feet. Don't look anxious. Just look like, hey, I'm just standing here. This is my route. A lot of times this defender just sits on his hip, and as soon as the quarterback pumps the ball, the defender is trying to cut in front of the receiver at that point, trying to get to the ball. As soon as that pump happens, our receiver's job is to shoot straight out, and the window's right open here. So we hit this play a ton.
Okay.
The pump's key.
All right, so first question. So if you have a trip set And you have these three guys. This is a little bit different as far as the formation, though, from your previous goal line set. Like your center wide receiver is a little bit more right. Is that intentional? Like you have the two kind of set close?
Yeah, great point. No, he needs to come in tight because we're trying to create a lane for him to throw the ball. So he purposely comes in out here.
Gotcha.
Right? Okay. And most of the time, this guy is going to be head up, right? That's just how the kids play.
Right.
If he were to come out here, all right, if he were to come out here and try to just sit out here, then we would just call goal line, and instead of orange shoot, I'd say orange one whip, and we'd have him do that run out to him and then whip back into the zone. But in this head up spot, we call it orange shoot. He stops, we pump him. As soon as the pump happens, he's taken off, and this guy's left 2 or 3 yards behind. It's a wide open throw every time.
Okay. All right. And you can run this on the left or the right if you wanted to, correct?
Yep. We goal line right, then we basically take these receivers. They go to that side. Our backside receiver comes over here. These kids on our goal line play stay the same. So this guy is my outside receiver. If I go goal line left or goal line right, he goes to the left or the right. Gotcha. He always stays in the middle. He always stays tight, and this guy is always my backside receiver. A lot of times, again, we'll get into another one. This is just an isolation. If they start to shade their whole defense and they go one-on-one over here, then we'll go backside to this guy. But this orange shoot play is a high percentage play that we use because it involves a pump action from the quarterback, which makes this guy bite a little bit, and then we take off on the outside and hit it.
Yeah. I mean, but that outside guy, he can be a sleeper because I will tell you, in our game, we ran a similar play in a similar fashion where we were doing it trips right and our outside guy was on the left side, and the defense brought everybody over to the right, and it was an ISO situation, one guy versus one, and we had the height and we had the ability. So, like, on the sidelines, I say, hey, look at this letter. If it's not there on the right, I need you to look at, so-and-so, and lo and behold, like the right was jammed, turned around, and it was wide open.
Yeah, no, it's the more we hit and isolate over here, right, you'll start to open up space over here because the defenders will start to feel like, hey, they're going over here every time. They shade over, and you've got a lot of opportunity over here to go backside. But a lot of times this guy, we just have him running a go route or a slant, or he can do a back and drag. Right. But he's just he's a last-minute check down, I guess, if you will, if nothing's open. But these plays we set up and run, we run them every time. If this play's not open, it gets knocked down, or my guy doesn't get deep enough in the end zone, this probably hits 8 out of 10 plays every time.
I believe it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go back to our chairs. Okay, so that's a great play. I love a lot of goal line stuff that you've kind of shown me so far where you have trips right or trips left. And, when everybody kind of settles in and they figure out their roles, you're right. It has a high yield. It definitely pays dividends over and over and over again. And to make things just a little bit different every once in a while so that the defense is caught off guard, that they think it's going to be the same thing, but instead you say, hey, I want you to do a pump fake and then kind of like an out almost, right? Could definitely be – I could see where that would work, right? I even tested – like normally what I'll run for my goal lines is that things are a little bit tighter for the trips right or trips left. And I think that you were kind of saying, well, it should be better if they're a little bit more spread. So in a game, I was like, hey, we were up, I think, by 1 or 2 touchdowns. So like, I want to run it like this. I want the receiver to be tight on the center. Then I want the next one to kind of be mid. And then I want my outside guy to be on the out. So everybody's kind of spread out and just run the same play. And, man, it seemed so much easier. It was
way more space.
Yeah, it was crazy, So, but I think sometimes I would have, I switched off because sometimes I'll have that center run the back out from the back of the end zone instead of that receiver.
Yeah.
So that at that point I said, okay, I want the center to run the curl and then I want this receiver to run the back end out route. So.
Yeah, you can mix those interior receivers up to kind of get to those spots. You're running them in those areas to make sure that we're isolating defenders or we have backup options to throw the ball to. So if everyone comes up on that, then we can throw it in the back of the end zone if we need to.
Right.
But rarely do we have to. A couple points on that. We go goal line and trips because we want to overload one side with all of our receivers, and most defenses will not bring all their defenders over. They have to still stay backside.
Right.
So we end up with more receivers than defenders on that side. The outside receiver has got to always be on the sideline. He's got to be a yard from the sideline. He's got to spread all the way out. So he takes that outside defender with him.
Right.
And then on the pump play, we talked about the orange shoot. That interior receiver needs to settle down and stop. Like, you'll see him. He'll start to like pump his feet and he'll get there in a way. It looks like something's happening.
Right.
And the inside defender never takes his eyes off of him. But what happens is when the receiver stops and settles in, the defender now looks at the quarterback because he feels like he's got his guy on his hip.
Right.
Now when he looks at the quarterback, he sees the pump. And when he sees the pump, that gives him and he's going to go down, and all of a sudden we're shooting out. So it's key for your guy to settle down so that the defender, in that case, trusts that he has him covered, and his eyes go to the quarterback. Any pump play we do, we tell our guy to settle down because we want the eyes to go to the quarterback, and then all of a sudden the pump fake gets him to bite.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Little details, man.
Little details, man. One goal line play, 5 or 6 different plays we run out of it.
Right.
And we usually, by the end of the game, we haven't gotten to all of it, but it gives us a lot of opportunities to score in the red zone, which is very hard to do.
Yeah, it can be. And it can be discouraging for a coach, especially a coach that's just kind of newer in the field. Like maybe they're constantly getting the first down, but they just can't finish the drive, I see it all the time. I see it
a lot less space in there, but we create space by spreading our receivers out.
Right.
And just little changes every time. Now, yeah, that shoot play, and then we'll hit the shoot play a couple times.
Right.
And that guy will start to think like, all right, I'm going to stay on his hip, and we just run a quick one.
Right.
So like he's thinking, I'm going to stay with him, and when he pumps it, I'm going to go with him.
Right.
But we just run a quick one. So instead of stopping, we just right into the one route and put it right on him.
Right.
Touchdown.
Like, duh. I thought he was going to stop.
Oh man, I was waiting on the pump. Well, no pump. We just ran a quick out.
It's the same play. It's the same
Cover
play.
the same play. You hear the coach say,
It's a pump. Yeah, like, no, it's not. No.
Not this time.
No. All right, perfect. So, and you have a play for this to
we're going
show
to go
us?
on screen right now and watch it.
All right, let's jump onto the screen.
All right, so here's our play that we're going to show today on screen, and this is our we're in our goal line formation, which is about 5 yards out. You can see the in yellow here. I've got my inside receiver, I've got my outside receiver, and then my middle receiver's in red. So this is the guy we're gonna attack here. We're gonna throw it to. The defender head up right now now they're running a 6 across, right? But because he's head up, and this guy has got this outside defender has to cover this outside receiver, we're going to attack the shoot play here. So as we go into it and push play, let me go. All right, here we go. Let's key on this middle guy here. So he's got 2 guys right there.
Right.
He stops, we pump, he shoots out.
Okay.
Let's go back to it. Slow it down a little bit. So these guys do a switch. Like he moves last minute.
Right.
But the receiver gets right in stop. He's got to stop. It's a light pump. Pump. Out. And I would say that's probably more covered than most plays we run. This defender did a good job of kind of trying to stay in his hip. But once we split out, once he takes off, there's no way to keep up.
Right.
You've always got a 1 or 2 yard window to throw that ball.
It looks like defensively they set up in that 6, but it was just kind of to disguise the safety coming back.
Yeah, no, and this team does that sometimes. They'll disguise their defense, but regardless, because of the 2 defenders being head up. Now, if this defender right here was cheating over here a little bit more,
right,
we probably don't go to that play.
Right.
We probably check out it. But because he's pretty much head up, no matter what, I know I'm going to have this whole area over here to throw this ball to.
Right.
So, and if anything gets covered here, this guy should be wrapping around the back.
Right.
Right. For a throw to the back goal line.
Right.
Back in the end zone.
Okay. Okay, so this is, again, just a simple play that you started with one basic thing, and now you're adding, like, variants to it, right? Yeah. Yeah. And it's highly effective. And so in that scenario, if you were to see that, hey, you set up for this play and you're at the goal line, and then you see that there are 2 defenders or 1 defender who's out and not in, what do you say at that point? Like, hey, like, you tell them don't do it. Like, there's got to be some kind of
a lot of times we're going to do anything. I say check, and that's
right.
I'm getting my quarterback and my receivers. They're all their attention.
Right.
And then I'll check. I'll say check, wrap back, which is a different play we run where we wrap the outside guy back.
You go back to that outside receiver at that point.
Yeah, or if they go 5, 6 across like that, right? And I'll say, hey, if it's not there, let's wait for the back line drag, right? So then he lets those guys cross in the back.
Right.
Everyone stays up front, and we throw it to the back of the end zone. So if we feel like that's going to be covered, then we're just going to the back of the end zone because everyone's up front.
Okay, so like if you see if you have a play and then you look at the defense and the defense is set to a position where you think that I could be potentially setting them up for the wrong thing, you just scrub it by saying something like check,
yep.
check, or Omaha or whatever you decide to choose, whatever, verbiage you want to use on your team so that they all know like, oh, something's changing.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I say check, I give them a call, right? So I'll say check, rat back. Right. Or whatever other call I want to give them, right? Check, orange one.
Right.
So I'm just saying, hey, we're not going to that anymore. We're going to hit this. And everyone hears that and they know exactly what they're doing. Most kids are staying the same on their route.
Right.
I'm just tagging the orange on a 1, which means he's running the quick out now.
Right. Nothing has changed except the primary's route has changed or the primary in itself has changed.
Yes.
Right.
But I'll tell you, we hardly ever have to do that. So I don't want coaches to be like, oh my gosh, man, I got to read checks and all that.
Right.
It doesn't happen, especially in the second grade, third grade, fourth grade. Teams don't disguise stuff very often. They line up. When you start having trouble is maybe against sixth grade teams or older teams like that where, they're disguising something or they're going to take that away. Where you would learn. But if you're at an early age teaching these things, we roll through all this stuff.
I mean, more often than not, I think even on a third grade, fourth grade level, you're struggling on defense to either A, get a kid to stay in his zone, or B, move so that he does something in his zone. Because like I've had both in that scenario that, I would never have a person kind of double up and get a read on an offense in that grade. Right. And so much, and a lot of it's even still in 5, 6. I mean, maybe you will see some of it when they become sixth graders and a little bit older, but it's not that common. You're still kind of focusing on individual kids at that point and their techniques.
Yeah. And keep in mind in this offense, the way I run it like I'm giving the quarterback the first read always. Right. So most offenses, the coach is saying, hey, here's 5 receivers. Go find somebody open. Right. Right. A step up from that is coaches say, hey, here's 5 receivers. Look at this guy first. If it's not open, that's what our offense is. This is your guy. If he's covered, he knows to go to the back already. If I don't check out of that, he knows don't throw that ball. So I'm just helping the quarterback, giving the first read, and 7 or 8 times out of 10, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be open anyway, so I'm helping him. Right. And then if he needs to come off that, it's just like a normal play you would run anyway. He's just going to come off the read and find someone else open. Right. I just don't think a lot of coaches give a strong first read to quarterbacks early. Okay. They kind of just say, hey, like, just go find somebody that might be over here. And we give that. So everything I do in offense is giving a strong first read, and then he can come off of it if he needs to. Yeah.
I think one of the parts that I've always struggled, so we've always had that primary receiver, is getting that quarterback to look somewhere else. Yeah. Right? I think that's kind of a process that we can probably focus on another episode because, hey, here's the prime. There were times when, as I'm kind of coaching up a quarterback, I'm saying, "Who's the primary on this play?" And they'll say what it is, and I'll say, "Okay, if it's not there, where are you looking next?" Because a lot of times they'll just stick them, and it's picked.
Yeah, and so similar. We'll get into it, but that's a lot of my coaching is like I know in certain plays that the primary may not be open, right? But he's running a tandem route with someone else that will be open if he's covered. So I'll say, hey, if the slant's not open right here, we're going to go to the 7, right? Because the corner's coming down, the 7's going to be over the top. So he knows I'm looking at the 2, right? But if he's covered, then I'm coming to the 7 or the 3, which is right behind it, right? So I'll give our kids the first and second read, and again, most of what we do, 8 to 9 times out of 10, exactly what we say is going to happen is exactly what happens. And then 1 out of 10 times, he's got to come off all that and find somebody. Right. And over time, they learn to do that as well.
I got to tell you, one of the coolest things is when a quarterback makes a read that you didn't even see.
Oh, man. I love it.
Dude, it happened to me last Friday. And, I'm looking at the primary covered. I'm looking at the next kid covered, and the ball's out of his hands. And I'm like, oh my God, who did he throw to? And it's this perfect window of a kid that's wide open. I'm like, man, how did you get? I'm not there. I didn't see that. That's super impressive when a quarterback does that.
Yeah. So 2 kids in our national championship. Our second grade quarterback that was playing our fourth grade team had numerous plays he did like that. He came back to the center on reads that just didn't come open. Right. And then our quarterback right now does a great job of scanning the field. Like, he's really good at that. So I'm 100% confident in him. If something's not open, he scans and gets rid of it quick and finds someone else. And when it happens, it feels good because it's like, hey, like my read was the read, right? But sometimes when it's not, like you're finding the next guy, like we're in a good rhythm now. Right.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it, man. We are building out a coaching platform right now that we hope to have maybe in the next 3 to 4 weeks done. And the idea is we want to have some content available to coaches. We have free stuff on YouTube, but we want to have specific practice plans for age groups, kindergarten, first, second, drills and skills these kids can do. Kind of give coaches the ability to have a platform to coach their kids along and start to learn these systems and teach their kids this stuff. Whereas we're offering a little bit of snippets here on the podcast, we want to have a lot of content available and specific for coaches as well. So we're excited to get that going.
That's going to be great. I can't wait to see that up and running. So
like and subscribe. We need that. And
there it is.
Every Thursday, a new podcast comes out
on
YouTube. So check it out. But we're pumping it out on Instagram and social media and everything else.
Excellent. Well, Coach Preston, thanks again so much for your time. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, brother.
All right.